I'd like to welcome you to another video from the shop. My name is Brian and this is Prosper Woodworks. If you're new to the channel and like woodworking both with and without a CNC, please consider subscribing and click to turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I post new videos. For those who are already subscribed, thank you. Your support means more than you know. In my initial review of the CNC Longmill, I noted that one of my gotchas was I surfaced my table, and as I was using it for my wasteboard, it seemed like a good idea to have it flat, and for the most part it was. As long as what I was carving was inside that 30 by 30 flattened area, I didn't have a problem. But when I started putting sheet goods in and clamping on both sides of the table, the part of the table that was a wasteboard that had been flattened down a millimeter or so below the table allowed the plywood I was using to flex. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to remove the Longmill from the table, remove my MDF wasteboard tabletop, flip it over, and remount it. So the first set of screws was removing the Longmill from the table, and the second set was removing that plywood, or that MDF sheet. Now I'm just going to raise up the CNC. I've propped it up on a spacer board back there, and I'm going to slide the MDF out from under it. And this is being real careful to pull the MDF but keep the Longmill positioned back on that spacer board. Now that I've got it up next to that next set of feet, slide another one across, see if I can't lift it up and have that be the last spacer bar I need. You notice I've got my X gantry back near the back. It's not all the way back, but that's keeping all the weight between those first and second feet. Now that MDF sheet's free to move out from under it. It's times like these I'm glad I paid the extra money for the MDF that came with two sides and not just one. Now to get it back on there, it's going to be pretty much the reverse of what I just did to get it off. And this is pretty much going to be the only part of the video that I'm doing in real time. This is the main part where I'm the most careful. When I get back to screwing it down to the table, I do my measurements multiple times to make sure it's square, but this is really where I have to be the most careful to make sure that, nothing happens to knock this off or anything like that. Now that I've got the MDF positioned on top of the table where I want it, I'm just going to screw it back down, and then I can get the long mill secured to it. A note on how I did that: since I just flipped it over and I had made sure when I put it in the first time all the screws would line up with the frame below, all I really needed to do was run the countersink bit on this side to get the screws through the same holes. And this is where I'm going to pay a bit more attention, measure 2, 3, 4 times, and then verify. I know the left side and the front of that MDF are at a right angle and they're straight. So I'm going to start off by securing the left rear with one screw and make sure that once that screw is in and completely seated, the front left will be the same distance away from the edge of the MDF top. And I'll check this a few times. Then with the left front and the left rear secured with at least one screw, I'll go through and finish the left side. Left side, I don't care how far away it is from the edge of the table. On the right side, I've got to make sure the rails are the same distance from the front, and then I need to make sure the right rail is the same distance from the left rail all the way down. And I'll secure this the same way I did the other side, one screw in the back. I'll make sure the front is the same distance and secure it, and go back through and put all the rest of the screws in. But that'll make sure that the CNC is squared both left to right and front to back. Now I move it all over the wasteboard, make sure it moves properly. I still need to go back and adjust my wheels to make sure they're not too tight, but at least I've got a flat top that I can work on a new wasteboard setup to keep things flat that are both inside and outside that machine area.